5 most evil rulers in history. Vlad Tepes, also known as Vlad the Impaler or Dracula, was a 15th century prince of Wallachia who lived during a time of Ottoman expansion into Europe. He was known by many names such as Vlad Tepes, Vlad III, and Vlad Dracula. There was many supernatural story about the Vlad at that time. People knew him as Dracula. Vlad earned this name by piercing his enemies through the torso with large stakes and erecting these stakes in the ground. Impalement would proceed either vertically or horizontally through the core of the body. Sometimes thousands of prisoners would be impaled at the same time. Many victims lived for several days in pain. Prince of Wallachia Vlad the Impaler was infamous for killing his enemies by impalement. He imposed cruel punishments during his rule, and he served as inspiration for the vampire legends. He used many types of torture such as dismembering, rectal and facial impalement, skinning, boiling, decapitating, strangling, hanging, burning, burying people alive, etc. Ivan IV of Russia, also known as Ivan the Terrible. He was the Grand Duke of Moscow from 1533 to 1547 and was the first ruler of Russia, and the first to be proclaimed the Tsar of Russia in 1547. He was fond of impaling people as well, and he burned alive at least 1,000 people. He ordered his soldiers to build strong walls around the city so that people cannot escape. Every day between 500 to 1,000 were brought to him by his troops, then tortured or killed in front of him. Genghis Khan. He killed 11% of the world's population. Genghis Khan was a horrific ruler that he sacked entire cities and was ruthless in his executions. Khan was creative in how he executed his enemies, especially when it came to nobles, because he believed he could not spill their blood. He would snap their necks or choke them out, but that was rare. More popular was piling them under a large board on top of which he and his warriors would party until each noble had been crushed to death. Over the course of his empire building career, Khan showed no mercy to his enemies, often completely wiping out entire cities or using hostages as human shields in battles. This led to wiping out an estimated 40 million people, or 11% of the world's population, between 1206 and his death in 1227. Joseph Stalin. Stalin was very cruel, although some argue that Stalin was the most dangerous dictator of all times. It is said that Stalin exercised greater political power than any other figure in history. In the 1930s, by his order, millions of peasants were either killed or permitted to starve to death. Stalin is guilty for the death of more than 20 million of his own people during the 29 years of leading Russia. Adolf Hitler. As you probably already know, Hitler deserves the title of the most evil dictator in the history. Hitler was the main cause of World War II and the Holocaust. 6 million Jews were killed under his rule, and tens of millions of people suffered and died because of his madness. He wanted to rule all over the world. That's why he declared war against all the other dominating countries. He built a very strong military for the war. He was a one-man army. He believed in himself. He inspired his military team. He was doing well in the war, but the main villain, winter, came. German soldier was not comfortable with the cold water. Other dominating countries like Russia, England, USA took that as an advantage. They used their all power to push German military and German soldier retreat. At the end, Germany lost the war. Then Hitler and his beloved wife did suicide. Hitler's body was never found. That's how one of the most strongest rulers' story ended. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification for weekly uploads. And if you enjoyed, then smash that like button.